hear that. Noise is recorded.
There'll just be a beat over that.
Alright, so let's see, we go back to news, we have those already installed.
Assuming that your NTFS partition didn't corrupt when the power died.
I think it'll be okay. NTFS is a journaling, file system, so it should be fairly resistant to power fails. Yep, one good. And of course, my workspace is gone because, I haven't rebooted the computer. So that means, from now on, I'm gonna save it onto my external hard drive.
Oh, you didn't do that in the first place?
No, I did not anticipate, the problem. So I'm gonna put it on my, external hard drive or
Looks like I already have one there. Oh yes, because you had something in there already.
Yep. I had one already. No, we specified.
So I think that was it.
But I didn't save it over there. I did not use it in the previous time.
It's like
Right.
install everything. The image takes so long.
Yeah.
Loading workbench very slowly.
Yeah, it's.
Right, here we go.
There you go. Test.
Yeah, it's just a different folder, so I have to point it to the right one.
Yeah, Monday.
So it wants the actual destination folder.
Yeah, I got at least 4 in the morning.
Question, should we be writing our applications for KitKat? As long as the feature supported.
Right. Well, for your current assignment, which is the H2O project, the focus is really view, model, and adapter. So you can use the oldest version of Android if you want to. Use the how you draw stuff on the screen is not the main focus. Right. Yep, go ahead.
Is it necessary to place interfaces? Say, like I said, there's the view, the model, and the
Adapter.
The adapter, right?
Right.
So should there be an interface between the view and the adapter, and then another one, so basically an interface, two interfaces between the view and the adapter, and then two interfaces between the
Right.
adapter.
Yeah, so every time you have a reference to something else, to another object, instead of referring to the class or the superclass of the object, you want to define an interface as the type. Because that way you're freeing up the inheritance hierarchy for something else. And it's basically saying whatever object that has these interfaces can be passed, or I can accept a reference to those objects.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the whole idea of using interfaces instead of classes as a restriction of our references. All right, so we're going to reconstruct the whole thing. And finish. Well, it won't take too long.
Start all over.
All right, so now we can take a look at.
What is the app compact version 7 that just appeared out of nowhere?
Did you, that's a compatibility. If you chose say Android 4.3, but compiled it with 4.4.
It's a shared project.
Yeah.
So it can be shared with all of the projects that we are doing. And the purpose of this is so that your app is quote-unquote backward compatible to earlier versions of Android, but it will still give you the look and feel of a modern application. So that's the whole purpose of the compatibility.
Would that need to be installed separately?
Apparently, Eclipse, on an Android development tool, does that automatically.
I think it's packaged when you package the thing.
Good, yeah, I think so, good. Compatibility is important. All right, so we'll go back and do the same thing as before. You know, we're gonna right click and create our new class based on the internal class of the view class. So we have to specify the superclass as Android company view. And our custom class, you know, we'll just call it the custom view.
Yeah.
And click finish.
No, I used to.
And it'll complain about the same stuff, so we'll basically, can I select all three at the same time? It doesn't look like it gives me an option to do it. You know, as soon as it has one constructor, it's happy.
What was the super class again?
The superclass is view.
View.
That's our superclass right there. That's okay, you know, we can always just, you know, look it up and find it. So we have to look up, you know, Android view class. And then inside that documentation, you know, it's really, really long. So we just, you know, look for constructor. And the second one is, this is what we need. You know, basically, we need to implement the same type of constructors as the superclass itself. Because if you don't do this, it will not be able to create our custom view object from the manifest file. Because the manifest file, we can change it to use our custom view for a particular view object on the in the activity. So we'll go ahead and just implement all the stuff here. You know, attribute set is the second argument for the second constructor. Right, let's do that. So we have public custom view. The first parameter is still context. The second one is attribute, and we will set attrs, and that's my second constructor. And all it needs to do is to call the superclass with the same parameters, because I don't really, at this point, I don't have anything special to do with my own class. And this is just, you know, telling me that I should import it. Go. Second one, and there's a third one with 3 parameters. Okay, so we have custom view, context, attribute set, ELS, and this time we also have an integer, I'll just call it I, because I'm just passing it along to the constructor of my superclass that takes the same 3 arguments. So context, attrs, and I in this case. Eric just missed all the excitement too.
What was the excitement?
There was a power fail, but I kept teaching.
Yes.
Hardcore.
All right, so context, these are uppercase right here. All right, so now we have all the classes in the design, and then we have the onDraw method, which takes canvas as a parameter. And it should complain about this, you know, well, okay, this is the first one, it's not a big deal. It doesn't actually complain about it, but we should say override because the superclass also specifies an onDraw method. As a result, it should be overridden. Now, most people would say, you know, okay, now we can go ahead and code something. You know what? I'm not going to do that. So what I'll do instead is I'm going to change the layout so that, you know, we will actually include a custom view object in the activity itself. Make sure the whole thing compiles and runs. You know, it's not going to do anything special, but that's okay because we want to do this incrementally. So if the application crashes, we know, you know, which step caused it to crash.
You actually overlooked. Custom view.
Custom view is overriding. It's overriding onDraw because onDraw is a method already defined in view, which doesn't do anything in the default view because the default view is basically a blank slate. It forms as a foundation for all of the other views. A button is basically a view. A text box is basically a view. A list is a view. So all of those things are actual views as an underlying class. But as an underlying class, you know, the onDraw method of a basic view doesn't know what to do. There's nothing to draw. You know, there's no button, there's no text, nothing to draw. So that's why we have to override it first in order to actually do some custom drawing with our own view here. Okay. And then the next thing we do is we go to layout, and then we go to fragment main, so that this way we can, get rid of the default to the hello world, and we'll go ahead and include our own view here. We go to advanced. It should not display the view that we have, but that's okay. We can just go ahead and include a custom, a default, basic view here. Once you have included a basic view, you can right click on it, and then you go to change widget type here. And in change widget type, now our custom view is a part of the option. Because because we derived our custom view from the regular view, so when you change the widget type, it becomes one of the types they can change it to. And that's how we can select our own custom class as the underlying implementation of this particular view. So we select this one, you can select all the other ones too, all the ones that are already defined by the framework. But in this case, I just want to use my own, and that's basically what I'm choosing.
What's preview?
Huh?
What would preview do?
Preview will do this, basically it doesn't know what it does.
Oh.
So it just appears as, a little preview, tiny little box here. Now with this one, you can also go to the attributes because it is a subclass of view. So everything that you can do with a view, you can do it here too. So what you can do is you can go to the layout, and you can basically say, I want to change the layout width to match the parent. And also you can go here and change the layout height to also match the parent. So this time, we have this custom view to basically fill up the entire space of the parent view itself. Because an activity is also a view, and that's basically the parent of this particular one. Actually, I take it back, it's not the activity, it is the fragment that is the parent of this particular view.
So when you run that, all that white space will be filled up?
It won't do a single thing, because I have not specified what to do with it. But it should still run them.
No, he's saying if you filled up the view, will it?
No,
You said it
because I
back.
specified padding.
Yeah.
Okay, so it will fill it up, but still respect the padding settings. So if I take away all the padding, then it will fill up the parent. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and double check, make sure that everything is okay. Complaints about
One error.
maybe we should just save all first.
There you
There we go. Then we have some warnings, but that's okay. And then we'll start off the virtual machine and AVD. Of course, there's none because this is a new instance. So we just set up a test one, make a fairly small device to do it. Let's say that's it. Size 1.
It's gonna be slow.
And we don't have the x86, so let's fix that first because otherwise it'll just take forever to load. So we'll cancel this, that's not good. And instead we'll start up the SDK manager so that we can include some additional tools.
Do you already have a copy on your hard drive, the USB hard drive?
That one is only readable in Linux.
Oh.
Okay, so now we can go to API 19 and include the image for x86.
Don't forget to make sure that you have Hardware Acceleration Manager from Intel. Make sure that's installed.
Oh, okay,
Very bottom.
so that's the bottom here.
There you go.
I'm not sure whether I can install it or not because I'm not running the administrative rights.
It'll install it in your folder.
Or will it run? Because that's a protected code kind of thing. Guess we'll find out. Okay.
Well, while that's downloading, can you minimize it so I can finish copying the code that you've done?
Oh,
It's all being recorded at 720p.
Yeah, but I've already got enough to do to watch.
So it seems like this version is 22.62. So there's a new version now. You did not have to. You did not do
Right.
an update.
yeah, this one I just downloaded today.
Okay.
And so it probably probably will fix all the problems that we
Right,
were
okay.
having before.
Sort of.
Maybe. Oh, the other thing I can do now is to see, if the menu, works, in Windows, because, that was one thing that I could not get working, was the GUI part of editing the menu. Go ahead. Okay. So let's do this one.
I took a photo of it, so.
Oh, it's still
Nice.
grayed out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so something is going on. Oh, do you want me to switch back to custom?
Oh, you're fine. I've gotten up to, I'm at override right now anyways.
Oh, okay.
You go ahead.
Alright. It's still downloading, so installing right now. But because everything is being installed to my external hard drive, it is a little bit slow. I think it has to do with Windows too. It's just not very efficient when it comes to using an external hard drive. Because I don't remember, when I was in Linux, it would take this long to install something onto the external hard drive.
Well, it has a different
File system.
file system.
Yep. But that tells me that NTFS is not particularly efficient, because extension 3 is a journaling file system. It's comparable to NTFS.
Well, then there's also the base system as well. Drivers and
But
stuff,
everything
communication.
just runs slower, when I'm running it from Windows. I mean, I can actually probably quantify it. Okay, it's all done. And we can close this and start up the ABD manager. We test ABD. Specify device.
You,
Oh, okay.
yeah, well, you have to use whatever one you downloaded it for, whatever, you can't use like those, you have to use the Google ones to use the Intel one. Does that make sense?
Not from my experience. Although it was the same issue I was having before that I mentioned to you at one time.
Oh, I can, I see. I have the system image installed, but I have not installed these two.
Oh, well, there you
Yeah,
go.
those were not required for it to work
They should not be required.
because of their own separate image
Well,
entirely.
Try switching to a different type of device and see if that does it.
Just try saving it and closing out, reloading it.
While in doubt.
I'm getting a attribute set cannot be resolved.
You have to import a class.
That's the first option.
Alright, so that's
The
modify.
sponsor to NASCAR. The guy added one to the user notification. It's supposed to be 1,500, you give him 1,500.
But this part cannot be the ABT because it's the ABD manager. And, okay, well,
I said he was gonna stick with it, but
so let's take a small device just like last time. And okay, that's the ACI level. This time we have two options. So it's really a matter of, closing it and
Yeah. Though that my issue persisted for some time afterwards. Until I just magically, it now reads it.
What I don't understand though is like why you need to close Eclipse and save, like because
I don't know, maybe it just didn't
I wonder
refresh.
I wonder if Eclipse actually like takes over the managing, so it just feeds to.
it may not be taking over, it is possible that the file is not saved. So there's no communication between the installer that has installed everything and the ABD manager, which needs to read those configurations. Alright, well, at least the ABD starts up, without, needing administrative rights.
It does nothing.
it should not do anything. You know, the custom view that we have defined, does not do a single thing.
So
even
then we
though
need
it's-
to do that then.
Right, you can do a draw circle, but I would do a draw pane first, or just, do something that is obvious and easy to check, easy to
Draw
test.
paint.
You
killed it.
If you needed to test your app that had a tie into, like say Google Maps or another Google app, like how you would build it very easily, virtual device if you don't have access to the Google Service framework.
It is network enabled. It's just yeah, the AVD is actually network enabled, just like an emulator, because it is an emulator.
Yeah, it has a LAN connection,
Yeah.
and it will not it won't display any information for Wi-Fi. It's just like
Right.
anything that would request Wi-Fi, say there is no Wi-Fi.
But I mean, it won't interface directly with the Google Maps app, Android app. You could use the API probably via the web.
It takes floats.
You can access the internet like normal, but anything that requests something Wi-Fi specific will fail.
But we know like you got like the locations on there, so like tie into Google Maps.
Because some devices can specify some
You know, how about like if you like go to Yelp and you go like find location or something, it goes to right, it goes to
I think it just finds its location based on IP address.
One more try. This time we're trying a small device.
Well, they don't pay for the apps, for the maps. They pretty much, I think, use.
Can't find it where see
Give it another try.
just access the VLANs now.
I'm thinking it downloaded the Hexam, but did not install it.
But if that one is optional, it speeds up the process, but it's not really needed. Nope, it did not even install it.
Yeah, I can guarantee right now it downloaded it, but the set of files are within its own directory.
So there's no way to install it.
You can't, you just have to go to directory.
I thought on Windows you actually have to go into the directory and
Yeah.
manually install it. Yeah.
Right now it installed,
It's downloaded.
It's downloaded, but it's not, it cannot be installed.
it won't automatically install it, you have to manually install
You have to
it,
do it yourself.
Oh, okay, I see.
regardless of your privileges.
Okay. I may not have the privileges to do it. So I go to the folder.
I know, I was like, when I first tried that, it's like installed, but it's not utilizing it.
So that will be under platform tool.
Extras. Intel. There you go.
Access denied.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Try to extract it.
You can't install in the program files, but try to do it in your own, the desktop. Something you do have access to.
Maybe even my external hard drive.
No, I would recommend keeping it on the system itself, since those are setup files.
What it says. What are you trying to do, Jack?
Yeah, that's what I do. Where anything I don't have privileges to the program files, install it in your profile itself, and that usually takes care of it, depending on the requirements of the program.
Looks like that. It's just that I have to do this, every single time.
Yeah.
Because when I reboot, this is going to be lost.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, because it probably have to have installed drivers and stuff as well.
Yep.
Well, for all users, you can only do it for yourself.
Well, alright, back to Linux.
Back to Linux.
Well, next time. Test, test, test.
See what happens whenever you break your Linux install?
Mm,
And not have a backup.
Not have a backup, not testing it before I put it into the.
What did you do?
Hmm?
What did you do?
I just, included, VirtualBox into the distribution, we burned the whole thing, and something, stopped working in the distribution.
Yeah, VirtualBox.
Yeah.
That's on VirtualBox.
Well, I need VirtualBox for, CISS 342.
Oh, no, but I was saying, what's wrong with Virtual? But you
Oh,
seem like
okay.
you like
Why
had
don't
to
you use
change.
KVM?
Because VirtualBox is more cross-platform compatible than QEMU.
So in order to illustrate it to the students, you need it.
Right, because in the CISS 342 class, some students do not have, any exposure to Linux.
But why burn it into the ISO? Why not just download it and let it go into the persistence? You do full persistence or just home full?
We can do a full persistence, but I think that's easier if it's already pre-installed, But anyway,
What was your method of adding it?
adding,
The VirtualBox to the distribution?
I include that package or packages related to VirtualBox into the live distro.
Hmm.
So it's basically pre-installed. It's equivalent to a pre-installed, distribution of Windows.
Whenever the squash
Yeah,
mess is
squash
unpacked, it
It's
will.
already in it. Yeah. Well, it looks like, we are running out of time today anyway. And since my Linux distribution is not working and the Windows is not cooperating because it wouldn't let me do anything that I need to do to teach the class. So I'm gonna call today, a little bit, we'll end the class, like 1 minute earlier. But there are other times when, we went a little bit over, so I think we're still balanced at this point.
We're still a little over.
Still a little over?
I think so.
So I'm gonna stop, the class, right now, and, if you guys have any questions with your H2O homework assignment, this will be a good time to ask, because we do have more than an hour, to answer those questions.
Does the new Moodle not display the diagrams? I was looking at the H2O project yesterday, Moodle, I think they're using diagrams over there on Moodle.
That should still be a diagram, so little, I didn't change anything in
I see the diagrams of where the different state changes are. It's still there.
Oh, yeah.
It should still be there. Let me just double check.
Have you tried on multiple computers?
Actually, I was
How do you specify the name on your own circle?
Yeah. We're gonna label them.
What I did when I tested this at home was I used a private member inside custom view, that is a reference to a paint object. And then in the constructor, I create that object, I actually do the new. So by the time I get to on draw, I have an object that is ready to go. But I can demonstrate it here, but I cannot run the program.